Hey guys, what's up? Johnny Strat here. I know I promised you guys this video a few months ago, but been having things going on in my life and had to focus on those before I focused on anything else. This video, first and foremost, is not designed to try and get pity from anyone, not to try and get anyone to feel sorry for me or anything like that. This is designed to help people with things going on, whether it's just basic things, overweight, trying to gain muscle, trying to motivate themselves, or someone that has a serious disease or anything like that. Whether it's something similar to what I got or not, completely different. So, without ado, my story. A few years ago, back in 2012, I started feeling sick, couldn't eat, was losing weight, no appetite, nothing like that. Now, I've always been a bigger guy, always had an appetite, so it was kind of abnormal. Ignored it for a bit, ate what I could, whatever. But then later on, back in come December, I couldn't eat anything. Every time I ate, I ended up sick. Couldn't eat, couldn't drink, doctors couldn't figure out why. Finally, in February, they were able to figure out why, and it got to the point that my kidneys were pretty much shutting down, and my eyes, I almost could not see. Everything's blurry, severe pain, whole bunch of different things. The disorder that I have is called T.I.N.U. I'm not going to try and say what it is because I can't. Plain and simple, I just can't. Long word. If you want to look it up, go ahead. If not, so be it. It's pretty much where I had a kidney disorder and also severe inflammation of the eyes. Now, the eyes was one thing. The kidney was a whole different ballgame. That was what was causing me to feel sick and everything like that. And luckily, that was fixed within a couple months. Prednisone took care of that. Nothing, no major side effects from that afterwards. The eyes, on the other hand, are the hard part. One part of T.I.N.U, other than kidneys, is, for the most part, your eyes. I've got a thing called uveitis. Now that is somewhat a common-ish thing nowadays for doctors to hear and stuff like that, yet it's still a rare disease. It affects about 200,000 people per year, and about 1 to 2% of those per year have T.I.N.U. It's considered an extremely rare disorder, and not anything I would wish upon my greatest enemy. For the most part, like I said, it had me going sick, being sick, non-stop, couldn't eat. It actually got to the point that in 3 months, I had lost 43 pounds of just about complete muscle. My body was eating muscle. My legs have always been huge, muscular, non-stop, and those looked like twigs. It had me real down, non-stop, for a long time. It got to the point that once I got out of the hospital, I didn't want to do anything. I lied around, didn't even want to get out of my room. I laid there, watched TV for days upon days, and that was my life. Finally, it got to the point that I got tired of sitting there. So I started working, started doing this, started doing that. And then what really hit was when I'd explain what happened and people's reactions. Just the shock on their face. The fact that they could not understand how, with what was going on, I was able to do what I was doing. Now, at first, I was just a basic cashier, no big deal. But then I started being an automotive tech. Not many people I worked with could understand, with the huge disorder going on, how I could even function the way I was. I was constantly on my feet for about 14 hours a day. No big deal for lots of people. But when your body's fighting something non-stop, 24/7, 365 days a year, that takes a toll. I mean, it got to the point that I could fall asleep and wake up 10 hours later and still feel like I never slept. It takes its toll. Now, those of you watching this that have anything going on or anything like that, I'm sure you know what I'm talking about. Your body, just anything going on like that, it drains you. It makes you go from full to nothing in a matter of days. Now, pushing through that, it will help to a point. I'm not saying, oh, I can't do this, I can't do this. I'm not telling you, go do it anyway. Absolutely not. If you don't feel 100% to do it, don't do it. Take little baby steps. I grew up in a military family. My dad was in the military. I grew up, do this, do that, do this, do that, work nonstop all day long. That, luckily, has been how my body was conditioned. I played football in Texas when I was younger. I played sports nonstop. I was always bigger, but I was also healthy and strong as can be. So when this happened, it had me on a whole different level of depression that I have ever known. I mean, it gets you down. When you're used to being the biggest, strongest guy that you know, and all of a sudden, you're down and out, it hits you. I mean, I wasn't the strongest guy in the world, but I certainly wasn't the weakest. And yes, luckily, people looked at me and thought, oh, well, he's just lazy, he's just that. So I did not feel that unwanted pittiness, because people assumed it was partly because of my weight, but I also didn't enjoy being looked down upon, frowned upon. I mean, when I got out of the hospital, they told me straight out, eat whatever, whatever, whenever, because of the fact that I wasn't eating anything for 3 months. Lots of people are going to be like, oh, no, 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 that didn't happen. But it's amazing, if you're really sick, what your body can do. You can survive without food. If you're big like I was and heavy, you can survive without food. I would still be drinking water, so I was still able to function to a point, but I couldn't eat. I mean, it's hard. But anyway, to move on, because it's a whole side story there. This whole thing, throughout the past few years, has shown me what some people have to go through completely. Now, yes, are there other things that are worse? Absolutely. But as far as rare things like that, there are very few. I mean, very few people. It's not like I can go out, meet someone with the same thing. It's not like there's a support group any place or anything like that. I couldn't even find information easily without spending hours upon hours looking for it. And that was just to find out the percentage of people with this. The percentage of people out of the percentage of people with uveitis. I mean, to the point that I went insane just trying to find any facts. There were only a few basic facts I could find, and that was it. That was everything that I knew already. The only thing that I learned new was the fact that it affects less than 2% of people that go in for uveitis. I mean, still to this day, I don't know much about it. Do I care to know much? No. All I know is it takes its toll. I have to take a whole bunch of medicine that when I tell people what I'm on, the shock on their faces. Even doctors. When I went to go get my knee looked at after hurting it at work and seeing a specialist, and they saw what it was, and I explained why and how long I've been on it, they're just amazed. They're amazed that I'm doing what I'm doing and functioning like I tried to. Now, after I started working and being a tech, I started deciding, you know what, I'm done pitying myself. I'm done following the original order of the doctor. I'm going to lose weight. It got to the point that I was working out. First, I started out 20 minutes here, 20 minutes there. Then I realized, alright, this is a little bit entertaining. So first I decided I want to try and lose some fat. Try and get smaller overall. It got to the point that in 1.5 months, I was down already 15 pounds. That was by going to the gym about 5 nights a week after work, just for about a half hour to 40 minutes. Focusing purely on not just cardio as well as weight endurance. Not the weight that I could lift, but how much I could do in a certain amount of time. Now, no one's telling me, oh, I should suggest anything, I should suggest this, that, no. But one thing that I do suggest, find a place that has some sort of timer. I went to Planet Fitness, I still do, nice, cheap, basic stuff, easy to help you out. They've got their circuit that actually times you and tells you with a light, go on to the next thing. That's the best thing in the world. You go non-stop until that light turns red, and then you go to the next thing. Great. If you can't do it, drop the weight, try it. If you can't do it, figure something out. If you can't do that, start with something basic. Start with walking on the treadmill. If you've got bad knees so you can't walk on the treadmill, bike, anything like that. Now, this video isn't designed to try and explain to you how to lose weight, how to gain muscle, nothing like that. Just the basic things. What I did worked for me. It might not work for you, but it's just the basics, stepping stones. Like I said, I was always fit but big before any of this happened. So I had to learn how to start from step one, from bare basics. I started with 15 minutes on the bike. Then I upped it to 20, 30, and then I added things. I added more things. It got to the point that after I lost that weight at first, I was down within a few months from close to 290 all the way down to 240. Now that's in a few months. I'm not saying anyone can do that, everyone can do that. No. Luckily, my body's conditioned to that still, and it was easy for me, somewhat easy. Nothing's easy like that. Absolutely not. Big minds. Big minds beat big muscles 98% of the time. Those 2% of the times is just, I've got to do something physical, and this person can beat me because they're bigger, they're stronger. Now, for those of you with things going on, any disorders, you know how hard it is to do anything like that, to even just work out average. Never mind do above average or way above average like I was doing. It got to the point that I was going to the gym, finally, after little by little increasing things. I was going to the gym 5-6 nights a week, going for an hour and a half, 2 hours, heavy, severe weights doing it, and after going down to about 243, I brought myself back up on purpose to about 265. Now, that wasn't due to eating. That wasn't due to stopping things. That was due to me changing from going, I want to lose fat, to I want to gain muscle. Now, you can do somewhat both. You can look stronger, but not gain muscle. To gain muscle, you've got to change everything. You can't cut out this, cut out that. You actually need certain things taken into your body. Now, there are countless videos on here that tell you how to do that stuff non-stop. I'm not going to tell you how to do that. But one thing I am going to mention in this video, play around with things. Don't cut everything out. The basic thing I did was I took a whole bunch of things that were processed foods, and if I could find an all-natural version, I got it. I got it. I stopped having yogurt from the big name things, and I got the all-natural. The things that benefit you. I stopped doing milk, stuff like that, and with certain things I'd have almond milk. A little different things without it hitting me with the dairy things. Because one thing, when you're on the meds I am, you end up lactose intolerant. That was the number one biggest change. When I started that med, I couldn't have anything dairy. If I did, I was sick nonstop. So, I went from being one of the people who I'll eat cheese nonstop to if I eat 2 slices a day, I'm sicker than hell. I am. Now, still to this point, there are still times that I end up down nonstop, and I end up having to remind myself a few days later, and pretty much kick myself in the ass going, why are you feeling sad for yourself? Why are you feeling sorry? You went from this to that. Why are you feeling sorry? If you went from this to that, why can't you get through this? After a while, things will continuously knock you down. With big things going on, like how mine's extremely rare, so I still have flare-ups with certain things. My eyes are still things they're messing around with to try and get things just right, so I'm not on so many meds, but it's not to the point that I can be off them. It's a long-term thing for me. I'm on these meds for a minimum of 2.5 years. That's a minimum. That's before they even think about weaning me off of it. Then there's a whole bunch of different things they have to figure out because of other things that they cannot correctly find out with the meds I'm on. Now, long story short, no matter what's going on with you, no matter what, never feel like you cannot do what you want to do. I went from not being able to do anything to making it through college while working full time, which that on its own, countless people cannot do. Yes, it was just a 1 year trade school college, but still, anything like that you're going full time, equivalent or not, and especially when you have something that takes its toll on your body itself. And I was doing physical work, learning auto mechanics to be a certified tech and everything like that. And then I was also working as a tech on top of that. So I was working, doing extreme physical labor, day in and day out, 5, 6 days a week. If I can do that with what's going on, think about what you can accomplish. If you want to, say you just want to learn more about business, learn more about science, put your mind to it, and you can do it. Your mind is an amazing tool when it comes to stuff like this. When it comes to any disease, anything like that, your mind is your biggest enemy, but it's also your biggest friend. Your mind can have you feeling down and out, but if you just turn it around and start thinking positively, start thinking about things, and think about how it was when you first had it and where you are now, it's amazing the difference. And just because, like for my instance, I went from being able to go nonstop, do whatever physical things I wanted to nonstop without getting tired, to I could barely walk down a 20-foot hallway without being out of breath, my back sore, my legs sore, everything aching. And I was able to turn it around to where I'm healthier now than I was before all this happened even. You can do whatever you want. Now, if you guys want to look up anything about it, want to question anything, go right ahead. I'm going to put exactly what it is I have right down in the description below. And for you guys, if any of you want to talk about anything that's going on, want to feel like there's someone that you can talk to, go right ahead. If there's any videos that you guys want, if you want me to go more in depth with any of this stuff, I will. Let me know. I'll do the best I can. And that's all I can do. This has been Johnny Strat. Peace out. Remember, your mind is your biggest friend, but also your biggest enemy. Only you can decide.